Zanance's USAR has grown to become one of the largest modern military roleplay groups on Roblox, and we are back once again to take a look at the life behind the walls of Fort Martin. Joining us today is General FrenchMonologue, the Director of Army Staff at Zanance's USAR.
Hi, my name is General FrenchMonologue. I'm currently the Director of Army Staff for the United States Army, and as of today, I've been in USR for about at least 2.5 years at this point. How I kind of found USR was back in 2018 or 2019. I used to be in another United States Army, and the Army staff there had some connection to Zanance's United States Army, and that group ended up shutting down, and a couple of the Army staff from there had eventually moved into Zanance's United States Army. And then eventually in 2020, I ended up joining originally in January, but my laptop I was on could not run the game, so I left. And then I rejoined in April of 2020 when I actually had a computer that could actually run the game, which was a lot better of a system that could run it. And from there on, I kind of joined and have been there since. With being Director of Army Staff, it's can really depend on kind of how the other commands and divisions are doing with how my experience goes. Obviously, if there's a commander division that's kind of having issues or is kind of lacking behind in what they need to be doing, it can be challenging because we have to then kind of step in and handle the issue itself. But on other times when they're running fine and whatnot, it can be quite of an easy task kind of at hand to do, just because there's not much I have to do other than checking in on just kind of how they're functioning, if they need anything, so on and so forth. And then as a whole with all the officers, it's usually quite a easy experience, despite the fact I'm usually like the first point of contact for a lot of the officers, which when tasked and kind of working alongside Army staff can either go one of two ways. Either the rest of Army staff kind of is a little bit like slower, not in a bad way, but like with what they do, and kind of makes my time a little more trickier because obviously people are waiting on me to give them a response back for certain things and I can't give it yet. But for the most part, it's not really like a hard thing for being Director of Army Staff. If I had to join Zanance's USR all over again, I would most likely probably start in like with different divisions. I originally joined 1st Cavalry Division, which shut down 5 days later. I then went to Judge Advocate General Corps, which shut down about a month after I joined it. Then it went to Office of the Inspector General, which then shut down eventually. And then finally went to TRADOC. But with the beginning of it, it was just kind of I hopped around a lot more of these like logistics-based divisions that really didn't have a concrete foundation to stay, which is something I probably would have changed. Just kind of get something more concrete right off the bat rather than having to jump between like so many different things each time one shut down. Hopefully still open and alive. That's kind of the hope. I would hope the USR is still alive in about a year. I would hope it's also kind of in a better place than it's right now. In recent kind of weeks, I've seen what seems like a whole decline of USR in terms of a lot of personnel within like other commands and divisions. Kind of a rough spot, especially since at the time of the school's starting, so it's going to be even rougher. But in a year, I hope USR has improved in a good way, as in changing policies, regulations, just kind of the way we've been running for quite some time. For the most part, it's quite easy. I'm in my fourth year of college, which the program that I'm in for my university makes it to where it's catered towards more of working adults and like parents and everything. And so my schedule on its own for college is quite laid back and easy. And so kind of balancing between USR and college for me hasn't been that hard of an issue. I still have a lot of spare time usually to handle things, and other than what's like university and everything, I don't really have a whole lot of going on within my life. And so actually for balancing, it's quite easy for me. I have quite a lot of free time to do a lot of stuff for the United States Army. It just kind of depends what there is to do and what needs to be done and how much I can do. Probably just communicating and just leading as a whole. I feel like this is kind of a different atmosphere when it comes to actually leading, because you're kind of looked at more as kind of like a figurehead in a way, especially at my position. I'm looked at a lot more under a microscope by basically everyone, especially the rest of like Army staff, all the officers, and even the enlisted. And so I've kind of learned in a way to kind of almost behave as you want others to, which is kind of the whole tall tale thing of like treat others the way you want to be treated, as cliche as it is. But that's kind of one thing I've learned is you kind of are like under a microscope, especially in this group with how large it is too. And kind of on that too is just communication. I think kind of I've learned more of. I already kind of was good with communication in the past, but one of the big things here is especially just communicating between the rest of your staff, subordinates can go quite a long way with getting things done, getting new things added, and just kind of working towards getting improvements plays a role. Well, I'm scrambling words. Kind of working with communication can actually really just change your unit as a whole. Quite a character amount of people. Usually, if you have the actual people who like kind of take the group serious, quote unquote, kind of, but still kind of have fun, it's usually quite good in that sense. But you do have the characters in USAR where they're quite interesting of people. If you've looked at like chat room and stuff like that, and if you have access to our mod logs, you can tell it's quite an interesting community. But with those that actually do like put time and effort into the group, it makes a good community with those people. But there's always going to be bad apples in every community. I feel like we have more than enough bad apples, but you can't really do much about it. But yeah, other than that, it's just I kind of feel like, again, with those who actually do carry, it is a good community because of those who actually do kind of care for the group and kind of care for the military roleplay aspect of it. Before Zanance, I hadn't done a whole lot of modern groups. I mentioned at the top that I was in another United States Army previously that was owned by Initius, and their group was kind of at the time I think by the time my top rank there was 08. The group was already on a decline, and so that experience wasn't all that enjoyable because it was on decline. I mean, I think my division at the time in the group was rallying kind of like not the best but decent. We're like one of the only divisions that kind of rallied decent. Actually, I think there was like 2. But other than modern groups, a lot of my group experience has been in like other genres. I mean, I've done 1800s stuff for like 7 years by now, so I've done a lot more there than I have with modern group, and there's like a very big difference between how those two run, especially now. Modern versus 1800s is a big difference between how the groups run and how they function, and just kind of the general community around them. Definitely a big change there. Okay, the only one I can think of is when I got my Legion of Merit awarded to me during a medal ceremony. I walked up to the front, got awarded it, and we were told to fall out, go to our platoon. Instead of properly falling out, I decided to moonwalk backwards all the way back to my platoon, and then perform a like left face or whatever, and walk back to my platoon in front of I think 3 or 4 members of Army staff and about 2 other commands. After just getting Legion of Merit, which is quite a decently prestigious award, I decided to do that in front of Army staff, and I have it recorded as well. So that's probably like the most embarrassing thing I could think of, is just like doing that after getting a medal in front of Army staff and other commands. I think I would honestly kind of rate USAR on kind of like a 7 at least. It's good in the sense of if you actually kind of enjoy the military roleplay, but it's also kind of bad when you have those who really don't care that much for it or take it more so as a joke and kind of make the experience kind of a pain for everyone. So with kind of you have those that actually do care and actually will kind of like, I don't want to say take it so serious, but they take it serious, but they also have that their own little like funny, charismatic side to them that makes it an enjoyable community and group. And then you have those whose sole purpose is to kind of like ruin everyone's day essentially, which makes it on a lower scale. And then when you get to the Discord, it's usually a lot more of a mess and kind of you see a lot of people behaving both Discord and the game itself, which kind of can make your opinion of the group kind of drop. Not for me necessarily, but I feel like for others they would see that and to be like, what is this group essentially? Just kind of seeing like chaos and everything happening. But for me personally, I'd probably get at least like a 7, just because I've had good experiences still throughout it for the 2.5 years, whatever I've been here for. So yeah.
And that was General FrenchMonologue on Zanance's USAR in 10 questions. Where are you going? Okay, fine, keep going then.
Well, walk over here, because you see where they start.
Okay, stop. Stop. I said where the inspection party stands, but it's fine. You were supposed to come here anyway. Stop walking back.
Thing.
Stop walking. Oh.
Bro. You didn't mention that. You told me to keep talking.
Keep going.
Okay. Do you want to point him out now?
I don't even know which question you're on. How would you describe the general community? Wait, did I already ask that?
Yeah, you just asked that.
I woke up like 15 minutes ago. The most embarrassing thing you can think of, or the most embarrassing thing you want us to know?
Oh god. That's like the only thing I can think of. Unless
it?
you want me getting blacklisted to count as an embarrassing moment, which actually kind of was.
Okay, no, wait. Okay, no, this is fine.